All right, let's continue where we left off with Reason and continue in this series to look on the advanced MIDI controllers, touchscreen, and iPad devices and controllers. Let's get going. Then there is a hybrid controller, which is an VST, and it's also a iPad app that is Decibel. And it's a metering tool that provides different type of metering readouts, and then you can of course configure this by yourself, and then of course when you play you get the metering readouts from here, and the good thing with this one is that now when I have selected, for example, this, you can see that it also reflected to my iPad. So I don't need to keep this plugin open, but I can get the readouts from my iPad, so I don't kind of spoil the landscape or in my Digital Audio Workstation. So I can work and I can look in my metering, and in that respect it's extremely helpful. And in a way I have liked it, and it's part of my template and setup. So I have one before the master channel, so I see that how the kind of the tracks are coming into the master channel. I usually use this as a VU meter, so I see that the level of tracks coming in, so that they are not too hot, and then I have one in the end of mastering, then and I do to see actually that what's the level of the master, like the main out, so that I'll realize that how loud or where do I am with the loudness of the track, and so on and so forth. So this is extremely handy setting and setup to be used when you want to integrate metering into your workflow, and in a way that you can take the readouts from the iPad, and you don't need to spoil the landscape with the plugin in front of you. So highly recommended to check out and see that would this be something for you as well. At least I've been extremely happy with that, and I use it in all my templates. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's talk about touchscreens and how to utilize touchscreens with Reason. Raven natively doesn't support Reason. However, you can actually download and license the UPDD driver and install that into your Mac or Windows, in my understanding. And then you can get the touchscreen working with this UPDD driver by itself. And how to configure it is that they provide this UPDD commander, where you can do a program specific gestures for different type of action. For example, now what I have here is I have basic Windows actions. So if I close this one and then I like tap 3 times, 4 times, 2 times, I get the browser, 5 times it goes into the sequencer, and so on and so forth. So these all you can configure from the UPDD commander. So you go into the settings. After you have installed it, you can go into the commander settings. For example, if I would like to turn the rack, to turn the rack. So in that respect, if I have the rack in focus, it would be tab. And I could do it in a way that I go and add a gesture. And I could say basically maybe a 2-finger rotate left. I have now 2-finger rotate left. If I now define an action and I define a keystroke with tab key, now I have programmed it. So the programming is extremely easy, as it is like in Stream Deck or in any other of these MIDI controllers or advanced controllers in general nowadays. So I'll basically create that as an example. So this is how you add this, and you have an option, of course, 1 finger gestures, 2 finger, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So all that like rotate, swipe, swipe, edge, and things like that. So there is a lot of options to be selected and programmed, but this is just an example of how to program a one thing into, but all others would follow the same pattern. So now if I go into the rack mode and I rotate left, I switch to the back of the rack and I can access the cables, and then when I rotate again, it basically shifts me back into the rack, and I can access the devices. But then when I switch it again, then I'm back in back side of the rack or in the front side. Oh, hello, in the front side of the rack. And then of course all other shortcuts work as described. So if I would like to bring now the synthesizer over here, I just basically with my finger drag and drop. And of course all these buttons you can also work with. So you can easily control everything here. You can basically go with any of these and adjust them accordingly. So depending on what you want to do, and then the velocity and whatever the controls might be. So that's pretty much it. And then of course you can do also different type of programming. Let's go and take an effect. For example, let's take a player, for example. So let's put the player here. So if you'd like to modify this, so you can easily do all kind of stuff and then define what do you want to do and how do you want to modify this and so on and so forth. So in that respect you can use Reason with the touchscreen, and for that you will need to purchase the UPDD driver if you want to utilize it. One thing that I noticed that in a sense here the sliders are quite small, so you need to be quite careful on playing with the sliders in a touchscreen. In native integration where they have Raven support for a digital audio workstation, you have a lot bigger faders, and you can also have this kind of a fine mode where the fader, even though your finger moves a lot, the fader doesn't, so it doesn't travel. The distance of travel is a lot less than the fact that you would drag things like here, for example, in this case. Anyway, one can use it, but then of course it's up to you totally to kind of find out if that's beneficial for you or not. And so, but all these functions can be utilized. So in some extent it can be handy because you can deal with these. And of course here the speed of this movement is the speed of your mouse. So if you reduce that, then it doesn't travel that much. So it is not that aggressive movement in that respect. And so yeah, I think that basically concludes the touchscreen part, and let's move forward. All right, that was Reason, and how to use advanced MIDI controllers, touchscreen, and iPad devices with Reason when creating music. So next we will focus into how to utilize drum sequencers in digital audio workstations to command external drum machines like TR-8S or equivalent. So remember to subscribe for the channel for more content. Thanks for watching. See you soon.